What else we got going here? Zim was already exploding into the weekend. There's some other things going on I wasn't aware of. I think some sort of strike that's raising rates. Shipping rates jumped 10% overnight. That's going to be really good for Zim. Zim, you can see here the pattern, and the RSI supports it. The pattern 3 times it hit like 2250. All right. So I think this one is in play. Zim is going to be a top pick today on 10%. Plus, you got the war in the Middle East, which is also usually a good thing for Zim. Let me just throw Zim, Intel, and SMR at the top. All right, could be any uranium stock. Choose which one you want. All right. ASTS, look, I think you buy this. I'm not saying for today. I'm not going to put this as a trade for today, but I think you can continue buying the dips intraday. You see all these tails here. At least yesterday was a big one. Or long term, buy it for long term. The satellite just launched, and people think, okay, that's it. The good news is over. Sell the news. But over the next couple weeks, hopefully, they're going to come in and say, we did all the communicate. We unfolded the satellites. We did our initial communication check. We did all the cellular tests, and everything's a go. That whole process can take 2 or 3 weeks, and there's different milestones. And as they communicate those milestones, I think the market's going to start getting more and more confident. And once everything's a go with a cellular communication check, I think by then we'll definitely be back over the 20 DMA, which is currently at $30.68. Beware the 50 DMA support, though, at $21.97 right now. That could always happen at any time. If it does, buy the heck out of that at the 50 DMA. Absolutely. I predict we will hold that 50 DMA. Okay. That's ASTS. Oh, is it ASTS? I'm wondering if I could make an excuse of because we're kind of in the middle of these catalysts, and it's a weekend coming, so there's a lot of opportunities for progress to happen over the weekend with the satellites. In fact, when we first did the research and we did that timeline of all the things that have to happen, most of the risk is done by Sunday night, right? According to ChatGPT. So we could get a press release Monday morning out of ASTS. All right, I'm going to stop talking there. Rhett, Lunar has more upside versus ASTS. Shaka says catalyst wise. Well, I mean, they might get another contract, but it hasn't happened yet. I don't like predicting contracts. I like reacting to them after they happen. Rhett?
Yeah, I think there's going to be more run up on ASTS just due to the fact that like everyone around it is just going to be looking for the weekend and that like the event and looking for the news to come out. And I mean, the news could come out sooner than later. That was just ChatGPT saying we don't really know the whole rundown of when the satellites will be all ready to go in that aspect.
Okay. I'm in for that. Okay, we talked about MU earnings tonight. All right, I'm still in a couple. I only had a couple call up. I think I had like 2 or 3, and I sold one yesterday. So I'm not in this big, even though I have a $99 price target here for you. I think I'm going to continue playing this today, and I might even make an ER bet. This has come down so much, and the sentiment is so bad. I think there's going to be a low bar. There's like analysts have been downgrading the price targets over the past month aggressively, but they all still have buys, and they all still have price targets well above where we're at. It's just basically they're like, okay, instead of 160, we're at 120, or instead of 180, we're at 140, or instead of 150, we're at 120. All right, because something with the DRAM memory market or something. I don't know. I'm not an expert in the area. I know that their AI business is why I'm interested in this, and the AI memory business is booming. Might not be enough to offset the traditional business, and that's what's going on here. That's why all the analyst downgrades, but the sentiment is so poor. I mean, it'll just take maybe even inline. Maybe they don't even need to beat. I don't think they need to beat, honestly, because of this. So this might actually be a good ER bet. I was hoping for $99 today. Maybe it's still possible, but I think it might be worth an ER bet. Could see some explosive price action if they merely meet expectations. Guidance will be more important, though. We'll see what they say about guidance. So these are the top 5 picks for today. Oklo, number 1 for now. And we got RCAT, Dash, Summit, and then MU, the low-hanging fruit. Hopefully we see a pump towards the close, and then maybe take an earnings bet too. All right, guys, good luck today. One of the top picks in our community, MU has earnings tonight, and I made a kind of prediction this morning that, first of all, for the last 2-3 days, we've had this on our radar as a top pick, as an event anticipation run towards that 50 DMA by the close today. 50 DMA is at 98.39. I actually think that may not even be out of the question for today, but I think something else here. Look at this thing, down from 157 to 95 or whatever. Analysts have been cutting their price targets like crazy over the last couple months, but they still have buys, they still have overweights. They just like cut their price targets from like 150 to 120, for example, something like that. They got big AI tailwinds, but some concern about pricing in the non-AI memory business. I think tonight for MU, all you have to do is meet estimates. You don't even need to beat. I think if you meet estimates, the stock explodes. I'm going to pause there, get the Godfather's feedback on that. I know you entered the trade as well today.
Yeah, so I've actually been picking away at it around this 90 level, which looks like a good level on the charts. But like you said, I focus more on the fundamentals. And, here you have a name that's trading around 10 times 25 earnings. So yes, there's been some market consternation, and there's been some concern about NAND and DRAM pricing, which is still the bulk of the business here. But there is a ramp in HBM, high bandwidth memory, and it's this relationship with NVIDIA that's the focus of the market, and that's really what's going to drive sentiment, which is really what's going to drive multiples from here. And so I think there's some real support at 10 where we're at. So it seems like an asymmetric risk reward. If you extend that out on an EV to sales basis, you're under 3, and on an EV EBITDA basis, you're under 20. So it's reasonable valuations across the board. You're going to see HBM go 5x from what we saw in the previously reported quarter going into Q1 2025. They're completely sold out in all of 24 and 25. I know the market, when they reported last quarter, was a little bit, they were sitting there going, well, why have you contracted all of this out when you're completely sold out? That's just the way the nature of this business and the way it works. And it's a cyclical business ultimately, which is another reason why I like this trade, because cyclicals obviously respond well when you get interest rate cuts. So, this is an extremely cheap call on AI, which is where the growth and sentiment drivers for the multiple are going to come from. And just look at top line here. If you look at consensus estimates, you're looking at an almost 50% increase from 25 over 24. So it strikes me as a good risk reward here around the $90 level. I own the common, and I own some $90 strike calls. Some of that is from my trading bucket, and some of that is building a long-term position. So that's my take on Micron from the fundamentals.
Awesome, sounds good. Good morning, X and YouTube. It's good to be back. It's been a while since we've done a free pre-market prep here. for the social media community. And we have been killing it here with my partner, Rhett from Hurricane Ravaged Florida. How you holding up, Rhett?
We're holding up pretty good. The West Coast got nailed pretty hard, though. So,
all right. So glad to see that you're okay. For those of you not familiar with story trading, what we do is predict breakouts in stocks. We're not technical traders purely. We're looking to predict technical breakouts. We do that by looking at the catalyst, taking that catalyst. What's the impact of the catalyst on sentiment? What's the impact of the catalyst on fundamentals? And only then do we pull up the chart and make some predictions of what happens. We believe that markets are efficient, which means yesterday's price was the correct price. And therefore, when you have a delta of information, you have a delta in price, and you see rapid re-ratings in stocks. That's what we look for every single day when we come up here. Now, when we use that approach, it doesn't mean everything's a day trade. We have lots of swing trades. Look at this TSSI. We had a lot of victories this week, but I gotta point out TSSI. We'll go to Micron. TSSI, we had a open swing card on this called on August 15th at $2.75. We gave you a target of $7.25. Yesterday, it hit $7.34, and we rang the register on a portion of those shares. So we rode that from, what is that? 6 weeks, like 150, 160% return on that, predicting rapid re-rating. And we got that consolidation we talked about way back here on August 15th. We said we're going to rapidly re-rate to $5 consolidation and then have a second leg up to a target of $7.25. That was probably the most accurate prediction I've made all year. Rhett, any comments?
no, I mean, that trade was amazing. Our community members ended up making over 163% on that trade if they followed from the open trade card all the way to when we just closed it out yesterday. So that was an amazing trade.
And just to show how that works over here, how we put trade ideas out in our Discord community, let me just pull up the TSSI card. We're gonna hit like stocks for today soon, guys. Just gonna show you this because this was absolutely beautiful. TSSI. All right, here we go. Oh, 5 was the initial target. This is the one. Here we go. Secondary target 725 right there. Okay, this is what we do. We give you a catalyst. We give you the sentiment. We give you the fundamentals and the technicals with a trade plan here to not use stop losses on this trade idea in that case. So we come up with those ideas fairly often. Let's go back to my screen as you look at my beautiful desktop. Okay, so that was TSSI. Micron, as we talked about, we killed that. We're in some call options, $99 weeklies that return 350% after that ER. Very rarely do we do ER bets, and we're out there the morning of MU earnings on our show and on Benzinga pounding the table. He said, ER bet, worth an ER bet, worth an ER bet. That paid off. All right. Some other things that have been just exploding. And I know I just want to acknowledge I'm aware of the macroeconomic news this morning. Light PCE, which is great for risk, which is great for IWM, great for Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, we've had an open swing card on this for a while. And we called this most recent surge since that 50 basis point cut. We've been all over this. It broke all the resistance levels we have. We now have a 70,000 next price target and then 74,000 after that. As I've been saying on our Discord channel the last couple days, it's preordained. All right. Especially every morning that we've had that China stimulus, we had really good trades this week on Bitcoin and Bitcoin plays. Came on the show. I said, all right, you missed that big gap up in China. Don't worry about it. Bitcoin's going to run because there's a lot of Asian demand, a lot of liquidity coming into that. And now we're gone, man. And now we have the light PCI. This thing is gone. Look at this nice W, 74,000, I think, is imminent on Bitcoin. Also, gold, another one that we gave you a consolidation and a breakout play. We have an open trade card on this. Guess what the price target is on this, on the open trade card? It's the only stock we don't have a price target on. Basically said unlimited. Going up. It's just going to go up forever. I'm like, don't sell it. And I reiterated that yesterday. Do not sell gold. All right. So we predicted this breakout above this consolidation level right when we got that light, the 50 basis point cut. And it's been a winning trade every single day. It's a core position in my long-term account as well, as is TSSI, by the way, as is Bitcoin core positions. Another one that we've been talking about, we also opened the trade card on this after we got the 50 basis point cut. Tesla with a 270 and 299 target. And this has been very good, very reliable for buying the dips on Tesla. We'll see there's some news out. Now let's shift to today and the news that's coming out. As we're talking about Tesla here, a few things could be impacting that. We have the tailwinds and risk assets and IWM and light PC. That's good. That's good for Tesla. We also had an analyst report coming out overnight on Chinese EV demand. All right. And in general, this whole China liquidity thing I thought has been good for Tesla because they went down. If you remember, I forgot exactly where it is. I think it was this period or maybe it was this period. They went down pretty significantly because of weak China demand. So now you got these multiple tailwinds for Tesla. Technical breakout. It's been a laggard. It's been like the only stock that wasn't up this year out of the mega caps. Now it is also up. So 270 to 299 target, I think, is going to be in play today because of the light PC and the analyst comments. I forgot which analyst it was about Chinese EV demand to rise. Speaking of NIO, so NIO is something that I've noticed that we've been playing again. Every morning that we've had this big Chinese pop, I've seen opportunities in NIO to catch up. I see that again today. Let's pull up our Chinese list here. China, you see Baba. We got to talk about Baba in a second. But let's see how the LI Auto's up 1%. So not a huge day for China right now. I think that analyst comment is driving it a little bit. But this is also a stock that the Godfather in our community has recommended. NIO, since the earnings report on fundamentals, is looking for a fundamental re-rating. All right. So that's given me a little more confidence to play NIO, especially on days like today. Speaking of the Godfather, man, did he ever nail Baba? I kind of nailed it too, but only in now because I just don't really play Chinese stocks. But Baba, anyway, we were playing this into the inclusion in Smart Connect. Then he got that, which worked out for me. That was the trade I was in. Then you get this big Chinese stimulus coming in. I've been giving you guys a price target of 117. Initial price target was 99. 117, the next price target. I was on the show yesterday morning talking about that. Well, where were we? What was yesterday's open? Yesterday's open was 102. We're at 106 now. So even yesterday morning and probably the day before, pretty much every day this week, I was like, your two levels is 99 to 117, and it's an easy shot there. And I also told you I'm probably not going to play it. Stupid of me, but I just have a mental block on Chinese stocks. I probably shouldn't. But anyway, I'm going to reiterate it. 117 is the target on Alibaba.
And another thing to mention, Ben, is also the fact that we had an open trade card on this a little while back of 82 when we initiated it.
It was 82.
It was 82, and members could have rode it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I played it to like 86 on that Smart Connect catalyst, which worked out with options, so that worked out well. But yeah, man, I could have made I don't know why I'm not playing it every day. Even right now, I should. 117. You guys might want to play it, all right? I think it'll work out for you. 117 swing target. It's coming, all right? So anyway, Godfather all over the Chinese plays Baba and NIO. Let's head back to our top list. So by the end of the show here, we're going to go through all the catalysts, some charts here, and then we're going to kind of rank what the top 5 picks are for today into next week. Some of these will be day trade ideas, some will be swings. So we'll see how things play out. All right, by the end of the show. IWM, all right, got tailwind on light PC. Let's look at the technicals here for a second. 221.43. 221.43. Well, you got this resistance at 224.13. Look, I'm not gonna. It's a positive for small caps and IWM, but I have more confidence playing individual stocks. To me, it's like a little bit of like a randomness to say I'm going to make a bet on IWM, then it's going to go to 224. I think like when you look at individual stocks and you look at the individual catalysts and the fundamentals and the 4-pillar analysis that we do, I think it's a lot more reliable. Okay, so let's go through some individual stocks. All right, like Tesla, for example, I'd have more confidence playing Tesla today because of those multiple catalysts and the sentiment of China than IWM. Some other individual stocks here. BMY gets FDA approval for a schizophrenia drug. I've seen very good comments about this on social media. I did some research on this in terms of how much could this be worth in market cap, that drug alone. I came up with a number of 18 billion. Okay. Market cap of BMY is 100 billion before this news, but some of that's priced in. How much of that is priced in? Well, I asked ChatGPT, how much is priced in before you get FDA approval. They said on average between 40 and 60%. So I said, took the 50% of that. I said, all right, let's assume 9 billion of that is priced in. Then you have room for another $9 billion move, another 8 or 9% move. 8 or 9% takes you to what, like $55, $56, something like that. Let's call it 54.50. I think it was 54.50. All right. So that's kind of like the catalyst and fundamental evaluation. And by the way, let's see, what's the forward PE on this thing? That's not going to tell us much. It's probably not accurate. 66. Okay. But looking at the chart here, okay, it's been down for a long time, and it's up above the 50 week moving average. Look at this bullish cross, the 50 golden cross here on the daily, riding up to 20. So we have good technicals, and then you get this thing that could be worth about 9% to the company, about 54.50. So I take that, and that's not like the price target automatically. I look what's near 54.50. All right. And then right here, you see this candle. It's about 53.70, 53.60. So right there. And it's kind of like, oh, that's a great level because it used to be support here, right there. So 53.70. Okay. I like the BMY here at 51.90 right now in pre-market for a target of at least 53.70 today. All right. That's not guaranteed it'll work, but that's one of a few ideas you can put on your table. BMY for a price target of at least 53.70. Possibility it does better than that just based on the fundamental analysis I did on this. Maybe it breaks that and does better. But anyway, BMY, that's one idea for you. Okay, NIO, we just talked about this. Continue to like this stock, especially on days like today when you have China continuing to go up, albeit much smaller this morning, when you have light PCE here in the States, liquidity injection coming in, when you have the analyst report coming about Chinese EV demand. I gave levels on this yesterday. All right. They're in the community somewhere. I don't think as a trade card, but in the chat room. But 630, I believe, would be the next level. All right. It was 605 and 630. I think it was 605 and 630 were the next three levels, something like that. So I do like NIO. Rhett, feel free to jump in at any time. Now we're getting to some more exciting things.
Sounds good.
I'm going to save the most exciting stuff for last, and that's going to be ASTS and AIR. All right, we'll touch on Transmedics. But first, I do want to mention TAN, which I took a small swing bet on yesterday. I have been, if you were on our show yesterday, if you're part of the VIP community, you would know that I've been waiting for TAN to break out. I'm waiting for an excuse because this is one of the sectors that has not recovered yet. This kind of looks more like the ARK-K chart. All right. Like the riskiest of assets, the assets that are most impacted by higher rates. All right. At some point, they're going to have to turn before the fundamentals turn, meaning because of expectation of lower rates, at some point, the market's going to start bidding up this sector before they actually see an increase in sales and good, fundamentals for the underlying companies within that solar ETF. So yesterday, I speculated maybe yesterday's Chinese, the second news of China stimulus, maybe that's going to be enough to really get this thing going. So I put in a small bet, swing bet on call options here. This morning, we got continuation up 1.5%. Yesterday, up 3.5%, 42.50. You got to break this 200-day MA at 43.60. I don't think it's, I'm going to say the same thing. It's still at this point, it's a small speculative bet, trying to front run, trying to anticipate the next sector that's going to, come back from the dead and start making a positive move. So small position in this. I'd be interested in a larger position if we do break out of the 200 DMA, although we had that fake breakout in June, which gives me a little bit of pause. Sometimes I'd like to go to the weekly when I see that. Much cleaner. This is much more beautiful, right? Got rejected beautifully 3 times on the weekly. So the 50-week moving average here at 43.82, you have a weekly close above 43.82, and you may be off to the races then for a $50 price target and then maybe 55. I think that's going to be in play. Whether it's the next few weeks or the next few months, I mean, things go in cycles and solar's not dead. It'll come back. So it's just a matter of exactly when. So we got TAN on our radar. All right. Let me just touch on Transmedics a little bit. They got included in the S&P Mid-Cap 600. Let me see. They got included in Index, Small Cap 600. Transmedics to join the S&P Small Cap 600. This is one of my favorite companies, which for some reason I never I used to have a big position in this back when it was like $10, and then the pandemic hit. Or it must have been here. It must have been, I must have had a big position. When was the pandemic? Here it is. All right. Anyway, somewhere in here, pandemic hit. I got out and I never got back in. Stupid. And the thing was like up 15 times. So I love their technology. I love their growth. I love their financials. It looks expensive, but they're growing great, and they have awesome transplant technology. Into the S&P's small cap 600 last night. I think there's still a big short position in this. I could see this having a great day even from here, up 7.84% because it's been beaten up lately. Now you're getting this rebound in IWM. It's been beaten up, I think, because of XBI as well. So biotechs have been challenged the last 5 days. I think it's time for a rebound in some small caps and biotechs today. Speaking of, let me see how XBI is doing. XBI. All right, getting a little rebound. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 down days. He still didn't even have an open green candle. So tough day even yesterday. I think it's time for XBI to turn, which is going to help today Transmedics. And it's also maybe going to help CRISPR, which didn't work out for us yesterday, but awesome news for CRISPR 2 nights ago. I would not be surprised to see CRISPR have a delayed reaction and make a run towards 49.50. So Transmedics, even CRISPR could be in play today. Now, I'm going to save ASTS for last. Let me go to AIR. AIR, those of you who know me know that this was my first 7-figure win when I wrote it from $2.50 to $25. And I've been following the company very closely since. I did miss almost since this entire downturn, so that was great. All right, pocketed those gains, and I've been back in the stock the last couple months. It's my 4th largest position. It has not reacted well to really positive news out here that came on September 5th, I believe. But yesterday, look at this sneaky move out of nowhere with no catalyst above the 20 DMA, low RSI. I believe AIR is in play, especially now with IWM this morning, especially with all the EV talk that's going on in China and Tesla doing well. I think this thing's ready to go. All right. It's always tough to buy this after a big open green candle, but I did add more to my core position yesterday. I did not yet add a trade position, although I may want to do that today. But I think as a swing, this thing, I wrote a trade card on this last night, didn't I? I did. You with me, Rhett? I can't hear you. All right. So get your audio fixed.
Yep. Sorry about that.
I hear you now. Yeah. Trade card on this that's been open probably since September 5th, which is not worked out since then, but I updated it last night and I reiterated to go overweight on this with a target up here of 1450. So I like AIR very much. I'm going to throw that to the top so we don't forget about it as we wrap up this show. We want to pick like the top 5. Okay. ASTS, man, am I stoked about this right now. Look, I've been wrong for the last week or so, but I think the bottom's going to be today or Monday morning. So this is more of a swing, not necessarily a day trade, although it could work out today. All right. I can't do the whole fundamental review of this. I would just say the reason I like it today is 2 things. Because we bounced off $23 support in early pre-market, overshot at $22.82. $23 was the high right there before this big inflection on ER. Okay. So I have a simple kind of rule. We always know previous resistance is now support. I get it. But the way to logically think about that, if ASTS was worth up to $23 before the inflection point news, shouldn't it be worth at least $23 after the inflection point news? That's the way I think of it, because I'm thinking about the market psychology of other participants. Other people are looking at this, and I think that's the calculation they make more than a technical analysis, right? However, there's been dilution since then, all right? There's warrants that are being redeemed. There's an ATM running. So in terms of market cap, the market cap's actually higher at $23 today than it was over here on August 9th. So it could potentially overshoot. But the other thing that we have going for us is the warrant redemptions is ending today. Okay, ASTSW is going to be delisted today. And look at this. Look at this opportunity. If you're like $12 to $3 to $13. After 5 p.m. today, this will be worth a penny. I think maybe someone in early pre-market got worried about that. Potentially, they missed the deadline because some brokers, apparently, they don't let you redeem until 5 p.m. today. You have to do it a day early. at some brokers. So maybe someone got some bad news and they're like, oh shit, I'm only getting a penny at 5 p.m. today. Let me sell this for whatever I got. But oh my gosh, crazy stuff going on in ASTSW. And it is a fact. We've seen some anecdotal evidence that some people have been selling their common stock in order to fund the purchase. They have to spend, I think it's $11.50 per warrant to get it converted into common shares. They have to upfront that cash. So people have been selling the common shares to do that. That whole mechanics ends today at 5 p.m. And I think we may also get a press release from the company on Monday updating on that potentially, or at least an SEC filing. Actually, I heard there was one last night with some information on that. Anyway, huge short position. When it has a green day, it tends to be a very big green day. I think I put a prediction in there that in our community that we could have a 10% move today or Monday or Tuesday, imminently, a 10% move coming up, maybe a little bit more to about 27 or so. So ASTS, top of my mind. Whew, I'm going to take a breather, Rhett. Before I order these, what do you like best out of the stocks we talked about here this morning?
I'm really liking Air, and also I'm liking the NIO play.
Air and NIO. Well, you know what? I like both of them too, so I'm not going to argue with that. Let's see. Air and NIO. So we'll get Air and NIO into the top 5. What about Tesla for some continuation here today?
I think there's a possibility for us seeing it today. You know how my philosophy is on Fridays, though.
Oh, what is it? Go ahead. Sorry, what's your philosophy on Fridays?
Just normally on Fridays, it's just like Tesla always ends up having a red day for the majority.
Oh, really? I'm not a big Tesla trader. Okay, cool.
So that's my whole take on it. But I mean, with everything else happening around and the sector warming up again, then I mean, we could see a green day, and it's not really in a rally like it is like where you have like 12 consecutive days. So it's another thing to take into consideration.
All right. So I hear that. What I'm going to do is we'll put Air number 1 for now. Let's see. Okay, what if we do Air and NIO in the top 2? Then we have ASTS, BMY, Transmedics. Okay, these I think are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to choose from. Look, there's also always Bitcoin and IWM. I really think that Bitcoin imminently is going to go to 74,000. We've had this as a top 5 pick multiple times this week, and it's worked out. Between Bitcoin and Tesla, if you had to choose one, which one would you prefer being in the top 5?
I'd probably put Bitcoin over Tesla just for today.
Interesting. All right.
And then if you're going to play the Bitcoin play, also take into consideration playing coin or MSTR too.
Those are the best ones to play for Bitcoin. I got, let me see here. Crypto. Here we go. MSTR and coin. We have them right at the top. All right. Wow. These things are beautiful. All right. So yeah, let's do that again. We've been right on it pretty much all week. So why stop now? So Bitcoin will be in the top 5. Air and NIO will be in the top 5. I have to put ASTS at least for watching it. Today may be a day you just accumulate, right? We might get a surprise. We might get the market front running this. You know, everyone expecting a big move Monday. So especially in the afternoon, you might get it. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to overcome the fundamental mechanics of what's going on with the warrant. So this is more of a swing entry for ASTS today here at $23. So we got Air and NIO for today. ASTS is a swing entry. We got Bitcoin. I'll put ASTS down at the bottom since it's a swing entry. All right. Then we have, what do we want to do with BMY and Transmedics? Ooh, look at Transmedics. Let me look at the technicals of Transmedics. Did I give a target on that?
161.30, I think.
That's what you see?
Oh, yeah, that's what I've written down.
All right. Sorry, I'm a little bit congested here. So I'm going to do this. We're going to have Air, NIO, and Bitcoin. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 things I like here right now.
Yeah, I'm liking that.
I got 7 things I like here. So we're going to call Air the number 1 pick, actually. All right. In fact, I gotta buy some of my trade account right now. I don't have. Oh shoot. I gotta go, guys, so I can do this. So Air's the number 1 pick, and then we got NIO, Bitcoin, Transmedics, BMY Transmedic. I just got to, I can't do 5 today. All right. We're going to cheat a little bit today. All right. So we got number 1 pick Air. We got, again, ASTS is a swing entry. And then this other stuff. Tesla's more of a swing too. We've had that as a swing card. So actually we are down to 5. All right. It's Air, NIO, Bitcoin, BMY, Transmedics. Yes. And then TSL. There we go. Tesla, ASTS are swings. Got it?
Loving it.
All right, beautiful. I'm loving it too. We got to go trade, guys. Join us at storytrading.com/Discord. Is there a discount code for them?
Yeah, and they can use code profits for $9.99 for the first month. So I mean,
we got to stop doing that. That's
Cut back
ridiculous.
on one Starbucks drink, and there you go.
That's seriously too cheap. Ridiculous. First month at $9.99. Code profits. Good luck, everyone. Today, it's been a pleasure. Take care.